Tonight, infamous killer police detective Rogerson close to death after a brain aneurysm. A family's heartbreaking goodbye for the father and daughter killed in a horror highway crash near Lithgow. A woman airlifted to hospital after being bitten by a snake on the northern beaches. Bondi inferno, the couple forced to jump from the window of their burning apartment. Water sewage warning, the health risks at beaches across Sydney ahead of a hot weekend. Plus, a brutal blow to Usman Khawaja's head takes the shine off Australia's first Test win.
This is 9 News with Lizzie Pearl.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a developing story. Killer police officer Rogerson is close to death after suffering a brain aneurysm in jail. Reporter Tiffany Genders joins us from Randwick's Prince of Wales Hospital, where he is receiving end-of-life care. Tiff, what do we know?
Lizzie, Rogerson was found unresponsive in his cell at Long Bay in the very early hours of yesterday morning. The 83-year-old had suffered a brain aneurysm and with no chance of survival, his family has been told it's only a matter of time until he passes away. We understand this follows a very rapid decline in Mr Rogerson's health over the past 6 months. Now, Rogerson was once a very highly decorated detective, but the good cop turned bad, and many believe he got away with multiple murders before he was sentenced to life in prison for the execution of a young drug dealer in 2014. Rogerson's wife has always stood by his side, but Lizzie, the man nicknamed Roger the Dodger, will always hold a notorious place in Sydney's history.
Tiffany Genders reporting there. The victims of a fatal multi-vehicle crash near Lithgow have been farewelled in 2 emotional funeral services. David Drozd and his daughter Lydia lost their lives in the pile-up on December 30, and many others are still recovering from their injuries.
Through hugs and through tears, the heartache of this goodbye was hard to take. Father David carried by his sons, his 11-year-old daughter Lydia surrounded by her sisters. Youngest child Sam, siblings Rebecca and Elizabeth still bearing the scars from the fatal crash on the Great Western Highway near Wallerawang last month. Inside the Emmanuel Baptist Church in Glenwood, David's 8 children filled the stage.
If I had the chance to say a few more words to him, I'd say, Dad, I love you, and I'm beginning to realise just how much you love me.
He cried tears of joy when I announced that he was going to be a grandfather. It was always something he looked forward to. He would have been the best grandparent. He was always the person I was most excited to share the news with and most looking forward to have meet our baby.
Still in a sling, daughter Rebecca was comforted by mum Nicole.
I can't wait until I see him in heaven with our Saviour and with Lydia. I love you, Dad.
Lydia remembered as the creative and outgoing peacemaker of the family.
Her favourite colours are purple and yellow. Lydia played with me all the times and we played dolls together.
The third crash victim, 49-year-old father of 3 Jason McMahon, was also farewelled at a service in Minchinbury. His mate sending the keen dirt bike rider off in style. 2 families, 3 goodbyes, unbearable grief.
Amazing grace.
All from a tragic accident that's now believed to be the result of a medical episode. In Glenwood, James Wilson, 9 News.
A woman has been airlifted to hospital after she was bitten by a snake at Great Mackerel Beach in the Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park. Let's go live now to Massilia Eiley at the Northern Beaches Hospital. Massilia, what's the woman's condition?
Lizzie, I'm told she's stable and she will be released later this evening. It was at around 10:20 this morning when she went for a walk near Bushland at Great Mackerel Beach and accidentally stepped on a snake. That's when it bit her leg. Initially, emergency services were told that it was a brown snake, and that's why that rescue helicopter was sent out, arriving only 20 minutes later. When they reached her, she told them that she couldn't remember exactly what type of snake it was, but she was okay. Paramedics found that the venom had actually not entered her system. Now, ambulance and paramedics are using this incident to remind people what they should do if they're bitten by a snake.
First thing to do is stay still, remain calm, call 000, let them know your exact location and we will come to you. While we're responding, it's important that you do not cut the bite, do not try and suck the venom out of the bite.
Lizzie, it is snake season after all, so the first advice is to keep an eye out. If you see a snake, change directions.
Massilia Eiley reporting there for us. To some breaking news now, and a person has died after their motorbike collided with a car in Revesby this afternoon. The crash happened around 4:30 on Canterbury Road between the River Road and Clarabelle Street. Drivers are being asked to avoid the area. A young couple was forced to jump out of their bedroom window when a fireball took hold of their Bondi unit. An e-bike battery to blame for the blaze, which saw 4 tourists lose almost everything.
Bright orange flames pouring out of this second-storey window. The raging fire quickly consuming this Bondi apartment. Woken by an explosion in their bedroom, one couple ran out the front door, but within seconds it was no longer possible for flatmate Maria and her partner to follow.
Our first instinct was to check the living room. It was all in flames, so the only option was to jump out of the window.
The rental now a charred mess. The 4 travellers from South America lucky to escape with their lives, but left with little else. Their passports, phones and other important documents lost.
It's all gone. It's very scary.
14 of their neighbours were also forced from their beds, watching the firefight from the footpath. Water damaging and cutting power to the shops downstairs, costing Karen Lewis a day's trade.
We've had to tell all the staff not to come into work today, ring all the customers and say, sorry, can't help you.
Investigators quickly zeroing in on the cause. A lithium-ion battery for an e-bike overheated and exploded while charging, an issue that's becoming an increasingly common call-out for firefighters.
Don't leave them on charge overnight, don't leave them unattended on charge, and don't go to sleep with them on charge. It's just not safe, it's not worth it.
In Bondi, Sophie Upcroft, 9 News.
With a scorching weekend ahead, many of us will be thinking about heading to the beach to cool off. But tonight, a warning. Elevated pollution means we are being told to avoid some of our most popular swimming spots.
The heat is on and the swimmers are in. It's Sydney, school holiday paradise. And while the water couldn't be more enticing, it's the bacteria at Balmoral and dozens of other swimming hotspots which is threatening to ruin the fun.
There's certainly an elevated risk.
Heavy rain this week causing sewage to seep into stormwater, creating elevated pollution levels.
And these could lead to gastrointestinal, skin or respiratory infections.
It's news to me. How do I feel about it? I am not sure how I feel bringing a 4-year-old to a spot that's deemed polluted.
I wasn't even aware that there was that problem here. So, yeah, that is definitely with children going in the sea, they might swallow the seawater.
Yes, it would concern me.
From the Bayview Baths in the north to Bundina's Hordens Beach in the south, there are right now 26 swim spots where the water quality is unsuitable for taking a dip, and many others, including Bronte and Tamarama Beach, where caution is advised. You can visit the Beach Watch website across the weekend for all the up-to-date information.
It's probably best not to put your head under the water.
And look for signs of pollution such as discoloured water and floating debris.
While coastal beaches will clear quicker, it'll be harbourside inlets like Double Bay's Murray Rose Pool, which will take a little longer to filter through.
And as temperatures soar above 30 degrees on Sunday, it's hoped the coast will be clear. In Mossman, Madison Scott, 9 News.
For those who do head to the beach this weekend, surf lifesavers have this warning. They're urging beachgoers to stick to patrolled areas and make sure they swim between the red and yellow flags. 11 people have drowned on our beaches this summer. There are calls tonight to review the nation's dairy pricing code with warnings it's locking in higher costs at the supermarket. Processors say milk, cheese and butter could be cheaper if annual farm gate prices weren't imposed.
After years of drought, dairy farmers like Steve Ronalds are savouring their greener pastures.
It's just one out of the bag. Never seen anything like it. It's really unusual to get good milk prices and good seasons, and this is probably the second or third year.
As farmers enjoy more in their hip pocket, the cost of milk and cheese at the checkout has only moved up. The way dairy prices are set tonight under scrutiny.
I think the processors at the moment are probably getting hammered a little bit because they're just having to pay a lot more for the milk.
The companies making our staple products claim they're getting a raw deal because the minimum price they pay farmers is set in stone for a year. Last June, it was expected a dry summer would hurt supply. Instead, rain has led to a milk rush.
It's that challenge of predicting what the market is going to be. Putting your price and locking that in for 13 months carries quite a lot of commercial risk.
Processors calling for a review of the Dairy Code of Conduct at odds with the farming lobby.
They put up a price, we accept the price. It sounds a fair and reasonable market transaction.
The government reluctant to intervene, but is weighing up tougher action on supermarkets to benefit shoppers.
What they expect is to pay the cheapest possible price at the checkout because people are doing it tough.
The Prime Minister will face his first major test of the year with a by-election set down for March 2nd in the Victorian seat of Dunkley, where voters will cast judgment on the government's handling of the cost of living. Eliza Edwards, 9 News.
And let's go live to Eliza Edwards in Canberra. Eliza, bad news for borrowers tonight. There's a new warning on interest rates.
That's right, Lizzie. The big banks might be predicting rate cuts later this year, but the International Monetary Fund is tonight calling on the Reserve Bank to push rates in the other direction. The global body warns further hikes may be needed to bring down inflation. It's currently sitting at 5.4%. The target is 2 to 3%. One glimmer of good news, the IMF is recommending new, well-targeted cost of living relief, so this will ratchet up pressure on the government to deliver more help to households. Lizzie?
Eliza Edwards there in Canberra. US President Joe Biden has vowed to continue striking Houthi military targets as alarm grows over expanding conflicts in the Middle East. Nuclear-armed Pakistan insisting it's not looking for further escalation after launching airstrikes on Iranian militant targets.
A Pakistani missile leaves a giant crater in the Iranian village of Saravan, killing at least 9, including women and children. Retaliation for missile and drone strikes that Iran launched into Pakistan 24 hours earlier. Strikes which Pakistan security analysts say could not be left unanswered.
This action is a manifestation of Pakistan's unflinching resolve to protect and defend its national security against all threats.
This is the first external land attack on Iran since Saddam Hussein's forces invaded in the 1980s, which started a vicious 8-year war. But Pakistan insists it is not seeking further escalation.
Iran is a brotherly country, and the people of Pakistan have great respect and affection for the people of Iran.
The European Union expressing grave concern at the spiral of violence spilling out beyond the Middle East.
The European Union urges all the relevant actors in the region to exert utmost restraint.
For the 5th time in a week, the US struck Houthi military targets in Yemen, destroying 2 anti-ship missiles.
Are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
Houthis' leader vowing attacks by his forces on ships in the Red Sea will continue.
Iran is not particularly well liked in the region. Yeah. And where that goes, we're working on now. I don't know where that goes.
In the United States, Alison Petrowski, 9 News.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has told the United States he rejects their calls for the development of a Palestinian state. In a televised address, he vowed the offensive in Gaza would continue for many months. It follows family members of the country's youngest hostage marking his first birthday. The Prime Minister has weighed in on the Rozelle Parklands asbestos drama. It's now believed there are more than 10 tonnes of material containing asbestos in the precinct.
Well, I'm shocked by these revelations, and I don't understand how it can be that it wasn't foreseen.
It sounds a lot, but it's probably one truckload or maybe a couple of truckloads. But we will not stop, along with the EPA, until we work with the contractor to clean this mess up.
Transport for New South Wales has until February 29 to remove the contaminated mulch. Well, while drivers have been enjoying lighter holiday traffic, the Transport Department has been working hard on Sydney's busiest roads. Whether it's enough to fix issues around the Rozelle interchange will soon become clear, but locals are feeling nervous.
Smooth sailing at the Rozelle interchange, but January can't last forever. Drivers fearing a return of peak hour hell, but Transport boss Howard Collins is embracing the challenge.
A favourite of mine, but an area I'm very keen to optimise.
That includes a second lane on the City West link, changes to local roads and clearer signage.
They're trying to tinker around, but the fundamental design flaws mean that there is probably going to be ongoing issues.
We haven't fixed all the issues.
There will be a crackdown on cars sneaking into the bus lane with fixed cameras to catch drivers.
Warnings would be appropriate. We don't want to see locals that are trapped in 45 minutes of congestion then being hit with a fine because they can't merge.
Long-time pariah Parramatta Road might become the chosen one for commuters, experiencing its lightest traffic in decades.
It does seem ironic that I'm telling you to use what was one of the most congested roads in Sydney.
It's thanks to increased use of WestConnex, and soon drivers will be able to go even faster. The state government on track to raise the speed limit from 80 to 90 by the end of March. Transport for New South Wales is also hoping for a smoother run on the Warringah Freeway, racing to wrap up current roadworks by Australia Day. But the reduced speed limit from 80 to 60 k's an hour still stands. And the construction will be back at Easter, continuing until 2026.
This is trying to do open heart surgery.
All to hopefully keep Sydney beating. Annalise Bolt, 9 News.
The last two local singles hopes at the Australian Open are in action tonight. Natalie Yannidis joins us from Melbourne Park. Nat, huge crowds will be cheering on Alex de Minaur and Storm Hunter.
Lizzie, we've got around an hour before Alex de Minaur hits John Cain Arena for his match against Flavio Cobolli. But already you can see that Melbourne Park is absolutely pumping. On one side, we've got Grand Slam Oval. You can see the big screen there, Thanasi Kokkinakis and Alexei Popyrin in action. And then on the other side, these are the crowds that are going to be watching either from out here or inside the arena. Of course, as I've already mentioned, Alex de Minaur, he's on John Cain Arena, and then on Rod Laver Arena, we're going to have Storm Hunter in action. She's up against Barbara Krejcikova of the Czech Republic. So it promises to be an awesome night here at Melbourne Park for everybody that's watching either inside or outside the stadiums.
Huge night ahead, Nat. Thank you. Time now for a check of the day's weather. Good evening, Kate.
Good evening to you, Lizzie. It was a warm and sunny day across the city before those clouds rolled in this afternoon. But you might have noticed it was a much drier heat today. We've been talking a lot about the dew point temperature, which has been unusually high, making it feel really muggy. But last night we finally had some relief when it dropped from 23 at 10 p.m. to 11 at 6 a.m. So it felt much more comfortable when we stepped outside this morning. It's still warmed up, the actual temperature reaching 29.1 degrees in the city, while in our west it hit 31.7, which is slightly above average. And it looks like we're in for some good weather over the weekend too. I'll let you know what to expect in your suburb after sport. Lizzie?
See you soon. Thank you, Kate. The hunt for the truck driver who got into trouble attempting a U-turn at Blacktown, taking out a set of traffic lights. Royal health scare. Prince William visits his wife Kate in hospital as she recovers from abdominal surgery. The packed passenger plane which skidded off a snowy runway in New York. And a little later, why the cost of your favourite tipple is about to jump again. A passing driver couldn't believe their eyes when this truckie attempted a U-turn on Bungarraby Road in Blacktown. A set of traffic lights, no match for the B-double, swatted out of the way just after 11 last night. Prince William has visited his wife Kate in hospital where she's recovering from abdominal surgery which could keep her out of action until Easter. After the King announced he's having his own surgery next week, Queen Camilla has represented the senior royals solo.
Spotted leaving the London clinic, Prince William behind the wheel of a black Audi sports car, followed closely by a royal security SUV. The heir to the throne leaving via a back entrance after visiting his wife. It's the first time he's been seen publicly since Kensington Palace revealed the Princess of Wales has undergone abdominal surgery and will remain in hospital for up to a fortnight. Little is known about the surgery, which has caused shockwaves in the UK, other than it's not cancerous. Prince William and the Middletons to help care for her and their 3 children at their home in Windsor. Police guard remains outside the London clinic here as the Princess of Wales continues her recovery. This as her father-in-law, the King, prepares for his surgery in the coming days. In Aberdeen, Scotland, Queen Camilla was keeping up business as usual.
Good morning, Your Majesty.
Morning.
Very lovely
it was
to
quite
see you.
a frosty journey.
I bet it was.
Sorry, we're a bit late.
Helping open a new charity for victims of domestic abuse and providing an update on the King, who needs treatment for an enlarged prostate.
Perfectly okay. How's His Majesty?
He's fine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to getting back to work.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
The King is said to have gone public about his health condition to create awareness, and it's certainly worked.
So we really have seen an uptake in lots of people worried, concerned and wanting to talk about it.
The National Health Service says traffic to its enlarged prostate website went up by 1,000%, with one new visitor every 5 seconds. In London, Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
At least 23 bodies have been recovered from the rubble of a fireworks factory in Thailand. The building was full of workers when it exploded. Investigators are still trying to work out why. Rescuers at the site have not found any survivors. Surrounded by snow and ice, an American Airlines plane has slid off a runway in Rochester, New York. The 50 passengers and 3 crew members on board were not seriously hurt, but they did need a little help to safely get off the plane. Award season is well underway and Margot Robbie has again been nominated for her role in Barbie, this time for a BAFTA. She won't be the only Aussie in the mix, with Jacob Elordi up for the Rising Star and Best Supporting Actor awards. The drama on a George's Hall street as a man is wheeled to an ambulance after a backyard dog attack. The damning report into the police response into a US school shooting that's left parents calling for criminal charges. One wrong move could prove deadly. The dangerous stunt captured on the CBD light rail and had to go to work the next day. The Madonna fans suing the Queen of Pop over a late concert finish. A frightening stunt on our light rail network today. A young person filmed riding between tram carriages in the CBD on its way to Town Hall, casually hopping off as it came to a stop. Transport for New South Wales says riding on the outside of carriages is illegal and extremely dangerous. A dog bite victim has hurled abuse and made threats as he was carried into an ambulance at George's Hall. The man was mauled by an American Akita. Tonight, the fate of the large dog is unclear.
The backyard blew, then bellowing screams as a man is stretchered to a waiting ambulance. Neighbours and police forced to step in as tempers flared.
The scene was heightened. Obviously a patient had suffered an injury, and as you could understand, that was stressful for both the family and the bystanders.
Emergency crews called to a Flinders Street home at George's Hall just after 8 p.m. after a 30-year-old man was mauled by a dog.
The gentleman sustained non-life-threatening but significant lacerations to his leg and his forearm.
He was taken to Liverpool Hospital, where he's in a stable condition. Today, rangers from the city of Canterbury Bankstown were investigating the attack. They sedated the American Akita dog and took it to a holding facility. According to council, the dog had been microchipped but not registered. It confirmed there were no reports of previous incidents involving the animal. Council is yet to reveal what will happen to the animal. In George's Hall, Maggie Rayworth, 9 News.
The Premier has announced a review into the state's hate speech laws, acting on community concerns about their effectiveness. It follows a series of sermons from Islamic preachers targeting Jews.
There is absolutely no place for hate speech in this state. It is abhorrent.
The review will be carried out by former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Tom Bathurst. Police responding to America's third deadliest school shooting have been accused of failures in a new report. Families of the 21 people killed in Uvalde, Texas in May 2022 are pleading for criminal charges and tougher gun restrictions.
Shots fired inside the building, Uvalde!
It was a massacre inside a grade 4 classroom. For 77 minutes, a gunman stalked school corridors while many police watched and waited.
What are we doing here?
19 students and 2 teachers died at Robb Elementary. A scathing report has found law enforcement didn't serve and protect.
Failures in leadership, in tactics, in communications, in training, and in preparedness.
The Department of Justice said there was a lack of urgency, and even this 911 call from student Chloe Torres inside the classroom
Please hurry, there's a lot of dead bodies.
Didn't change the police response to America's third deadliest school shooting. There were at least 6 instances of gunfire, totalling 45 rounds. The report said the killing should have been stopped, but no one assumed a leadership role or questioned the lack of urgency. Much of the blame was put on Pete Arredondo, the head of the school's own police department, since fired. Uvalde is still broken and grieving.
These were children. All they wanted to do was play.
I hope that the failures end today.
President Biden again urged Congress to pass gun reform, including background checks and a ban on assault weapons. The focus of this report was on the response to the school shooting and not gun safety. It's recommended police always seek to eliminate a threat, but that schools should also put in place stronger doors.
Enact sensible gun laws because Robb Elementary began the day an 18-year-old wasn't allowed to purchase an AR-15.
Parents also want charges laid on those who failed to protect their children. In the United States, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
15 students and their teacher have drowned after a boat capsized in Western India. 11 students were pulled from the water with 1 person still missing. The group had been on a picnic excursion. The cause of the capsize is under investigation. French police have rallied in Paris, threatening to disrupt airports during the Olympics if pay demands aren't met. They say it'll take 25 minutes instead of 3 to do a basic passport check. Pop star Madonna is being sued because she started a concert in New York too late. 2 men claim they were faced with transport issues and had to wake up early to go to work the next day. Cost of living crunch. The price of alcohol set to jump again, with pubs pleading for a tax freeze. Plus, a long-awaited road upgrade south of Campbelltown approved. And Roz joins us from the Australian Open with sport. It's a huge night there for our local hosts.
Good evening, Lizzie. All the pressure on Alex de Minaur and Storm Hunter, who are both in action. So too is Novak Djokovic. A full preview of night 6 coming up shortly. The big names had no trouble today, but tempers exploded in the early hours of this morning at Melbourne Park. Usman Khawaja struck on the head and facing a concussion assessment ahead of the second test. Plus, a fumble on his first day as coach, but can this Kiwi take the Wallabies back to the top of world rugby?
Make the most of the cooler weather because it's going to get really hot next week. I'll let you know exactly when shortly.
Two local heroes and an all-time legend headline Australian Open action tonight as Alex de Minaur, Storm Hunter and Novak Djokovic look to move into round 4. Nine tennis commentator Todd Woodbridge joins me now. Evening to you, Todd. Alex de Minaur's up against another Italian and it's a different sort of pressure for the Demon.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, after 2 rounds, he's in very good form. It was a tough opening round against Raonic, but then in Arnaldi in the second round, we started to see him play some fantastic tennis. Now, this is tonight a match he should win and must win as he pushes his way towards the second week, but I think he will get through.
Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic, the 10-time champion, he's up against Thomas Martin Echeverry, the Argentinian on Rod Laver Arena. Djokovic, he's been pushed early here.
He has. I mean, usually you're used to him winning easily in the first and second round. He's been pushed to 5 in the first. Alexei Popyrin could have gone up 2-1, and you've got to watch out tonight. This is another tough one against Echeverry. He's a very dangerous player. In fact, he smashed Alex de Minaur at Roland Garros, so watch out again for Djokovic tonight.
Storm Hunter having the tournament of her life. Can she pull off an upset tonight?
It'll be a tough one for her, but Barbara Krejcikova is a former Roland Garros major champion, but she's playing the best tennis of her life right now. #1 doubles player in the world, qualifies here, got a great run of momentum, and you know what? I think there might be a little upset for Stormy, and that would be fantastic.
Fingers crossed. Okay, huge night for Australian tennis. Todd, I'll let you make your way through the crowd over to the People's Arena. John Cain for that one. It has been one-way traffic for the big names in action so far here on day 6. One even describing their second round performance as perfection.
A slow starter in his opening 2 matches, Stefanos Tsitsipas was a man on a mission in the 3rd round.
Beautiful. Tsitsipas with some magic.
I was constantly trying to push myself and exceed my own expectations, and I'm happy it worked out.
In-form Italian Yannick Sinner also threw in straight sets.
I think in general I played really well and I feel great here.
It took Coco Gauff just over an hour to get past fellow American Alicia Parks. Defending champion Arina Sabalenka's match was over in 52 minutes.
That's the perfect set.
Today's performance was really, was perfection.
Thanasi Kokkinakis' dream to progress past the second round at his home slam was crushed by Grigor Dimitrov, the Aussie struggling with a side issue.
Yeah, I think I picked something up during my first round, and against someone like that, you need all the help you can get.
Isla Tomljanovic also denied, outclassed by Yelena Ostapenko.
I feel like I should be angry, but I'm really chilled because it didn't feel like I did something crazy wrong.
2023 finalist Elena Rybakina was eliminated after the longest singles tiebreak in women's Grand Slam history. It finished 22-20.
And a blink of a take a bow.
That meant a frustrated Daniil Medvedev wasn't on court until after 11 p.m.
That could have been very nasty.
And wasn't off it until his 5-set match finished at 3:40 this morning.
If I would be a tennis fan and I would come, I would be at 1, I would be like, okay, let's go home. We're going to catch the end of the match on the TV.
Zach Bailey, 9 News.
Usman Khawaja will have to pass another concussion exam to play in the second test at the Gabba next week after copping a nasty blow to the head against the West Indies in Adelaide. The scary moment taking some shine off Australia's dominant first test victory.
Low scoring and over quickly, this test was just what Australia wanted.
And with that, Australia win in the sunshine here in Adelaide.
Hopefully for the 3 days we did entertain somewhat. I felt like we played a good brand. I felt like we played a good game of cricket.
The match over before lunch on the 3rd day. The Aussie attack wiping out the Windies' tail.
Out! Josh Hazlewood has 5.
Those 5 taking Hazlewood to 9 wickets for the test, 13 in his last 3 innings.
Playing with this attack, I just feel like it's just relentless. That pressure just builds the whole time and someone picks up the wickets.
Australia's batters left to chase just 26 for victory. Steve Smith remained not out, but with scores tied, he lost his opening partner.
Oh, nasty.
Usman Khawaja struck on the jaw by a brutal Shamar Joseph bouncer. He passed an initial concussion test and has been cleared of a fracture, but will need to pass another head assessment to play in Brisbane.
Yeah, he seems okay, just a little bit of a sore jaw, so yeah, monitor it.
Khawaja, the only injury concern for Australia, who are set to field the same bowling attack for the entire Test summer.
Start of the summer, didn't think it was going to be the case, but it's shaping up that way, which is a huge nod to, I guess, the fitness of the guys.
The demoralised West Indies still hopeful of breaking their 27-year winless run in Australia next week.
Someone has to show that fight, and I believe the guys that here have the heart, and they have to just have the belief.
Luke Dovesey, 9 News.
He was a Sydney Swans junior, and today Tom Trbojevic was spotted at Carlton training in Melbourne. But there's no need to fear, Manly fans. Turbo was in town with Daly Cherry Evans and Luke Brooks to learn off their AFL counterparts. The injury-prone fullback confident he'll have a big 2024.
I feel like I've still got a lot left in this game. I can still do some really good things, and I just got to keep working hard, and I guess the bad luck will turn into good luck.
Turbo is on track to return from a torn pec in Manly's season opener against Souths in Las Vegas. Kiwi Joe Schmidt is the man tasked with lifting the Wallabies out of their darkest chapter following a disastrous 12 months under Eddie Jones. The new coach has only been appointed until the end of next year's British and Irish Lions tour.
If we can get the job done over the next 18 months and we can get the momentum heading in the right direction, then I'll feel like I've done my part of it.
As coach, Schmidt took Ireland from 9th to 1st in rugby's world rankings. The Socceroos are locked in for the knockout stages of the Asian Cup with a game to spare, defeating Syria 1-0. Jackson Irvine scored his second goal in 2 matches in what was Australia's only shot on target.
We probably should have put the game to bed. We had a lot of open spaces after we scored the goal, but that's something we can work on. But clean sheet is the most important thing.
A Socceroos win against Uzbekistan on Tuesday night will wrap up top spot in Group B. And in the NBA, Josh Giddey has had one of the best games of the year, the day after police dropped their investigation into the Australian. Giddey scoring 20 points for the first time in almost as many outings, to go with his 10 rebounds and 6 assists in the Thunder's 134-129 win over Utah. The Australian fans and the Serbian fans, they are all out in force here at Melbourne Park tonight. Lizzie, Day 6 action continues straight after the news.
A huge night ahead, Rosie. Thank you. $15 a pint. The price of beer set to jump again. Why the government's being accused of putting jobs at risk. The second biggest jackpot ever. The Powerball prize hits $150 million. And the grandmother ticking off a very surprising bucket list item at the age of 83.
Even though the Powerball has jackpotted to $150 million, the company won't have a problem covering it. The excitement helped push the share price of the Lottery Corporation up 6%, the best stock on the Australian share market today. That means the company's value went up by $620 million, or 4 times the lottery jackpot. So the real winners, of course, are the shareholders. Overall, it was a positive day on our market, breaking a 5-day losing streak. In fact, it was the best day for the ASX in over a month. And the Australian dollar has rebounded after touching a 6-week low, buying 65.7 US cents and 60.4 euro cents as we head towards the weekend.
Thank you, Chris. It's long been promised. Now a major upgrade to Appin Road is a step closer. Transport for New South Wales confirming it will be widened to 4 lanes between Rosemeadow and Glebe. The project also including koala underpasses to prevent the animals from crossing the road. The upgrade will be delivered by Lend-Lease as part of its approval for the Fig Tree Hill housing development. A drink at the pub is about to cost you a whole lot more. An average pint of beer will now set you back $15, with brewers saying the Australian government is putting their businesses at risk. Finance editor Chris Kohler again.
Friday knockoff. Time for a drink. Cheers!
But at Australia's breweries and distilleries, it's all business. Bundaberg Rum today kicking off a campaign to halt the tax hikes, which it says are squeezing businesses across the country.
We are asking for an immediate 2-year freeze.
If the government says no, Australia's head-spinning alcohol tax will rise again on February 1, as it has twice a year, every year, for 4 decades, this time by another 2 to 3%, cementing the world's third highest beer and spirit tax.
The government is essentially kicking us whilst we're down.
It now means a slab of full-strength beer costs around $55, but tax makes up $20 plus GST. And for a bottle of spirits, the price might be $60, but the tax makes up a thumping $38, causing outcry across the country.
By any measure, that is unbearable.
It is becoming too expensive for the consumer to purchase.
It's bizarre to think that I can go to Germany and get my whiskey cheaper than I can down the road.
After the next tax increase, a pint of beer at the pub could cost around $15. But publicans are trying not to pass on the price hikes if they can, because there is a limit to what people will pay.
I was just in Vietnam and the price of a beer is $3. I come here, get the same beer, it's $14. It's ridiculous.
And the industry warns without a freeze on alcohol taxes, jobs will be lost.
If the government wants the manufacturing industry, we're here to give it to them on a silver platter. But under the current circumstances, with this tax handbrake, we can't do that.
No arguments down at the pub.
We've got to have a beer. It's Friday.
Chris Kohler, 9 News.
Sick kids at Sydney's Children's Hospital have had a very special visitor, Olympic diver Sam Fricker, stopping by for a chat and some games. The Starlight Ambassador will head to Paris later this year, but in the meantime, he's trying to raise $7 million through the Super Swim Challenge. The annual campaign encourages everyone to jump into the water for a good cause. Ticking off a bucket list item at the age of 83, grandmother Gillian Murphy. The Victorian woman has always wanted a tattoo, and today she got her first, a hedgehog.
One of my grandsons has got a tattoo, so I'll go and see him and show him that Grandma's just as good.
Her big accomplishment is thanks to a program run by her aged care facility, helping residents to tick off bucket list items. The Powerball jackpot has soared to $150 million after nobody won the Division 1 prize last night. It's the second biggest jackpot the country has ever seen, jumping for the 5th week in a row and leaving many now counting down to next Thursday's draw. Coming up, Kate with the weekend weather.
Thanks, Lizzie. It'll be partly cloudy across the city tonight, but should remain dry with light southeasterly winds. Right now in the city, it is 23 degrees, 26 in our west. Your weekend forecast is next. The sun was shining across the city today. Temperatures slightly above average. It was warmest in our west, Penrith reaching 32 degrees, 30 at Blacktown and Liverpool and 29 in Kellyville and the city, although it did cool off a bit when those clouds rolled in this afternoon. The harbour currently looking more brown than blue after Wednesday's heavy rain. It was mostly dry across our state today, only a sprinkle of rain at Byron Bay overnight ahead of a hot and humid day. Grafton reaching a top of 33 degrees and 29 at Coffs Harbour. The monsoon trough continues to bring significant rain to the tropical north. Tennant Creek in the Northern Territory had its highest 24-hour January rainfall in 15 years. Tomorrow we'll continue to see heavy rain and storms across the far north, while a broad trough may bring showers and storms to Queensland and northeast New South Wales, building heat into South Australia. Brisbane is in for a shower or two, 31 degrees, partly cloudy in Canberra at 27. The slight chance of a shower at the Australian Open in Melbourne, 27 degrees. Showers developing in Hobart, 23. A hot one for Adelaide, 35. And sunshine and 33 in Perth. It'll warm up across western New South Wales tomorrow, 38 degrees forecast for Bourke, 36 at Broken Hill. However, it will remain cooler on our coast, partly cloudy in Newcastle, 30 degrees, a top of 26 at Wollongong. Sydney is in for a partly cloudy morning, but should clear to a mostly sunny afternoon with light northeasterly winds. Temperatures will be close to average after dropping down to 21 overnight. The city is expected to reach 29 degrees. It could be a cloudy start across our suburbs too. Temperatures around 29 to 30 degrees for most places, 26 at Cronulla. Looking ahead to Sunday, and it's sunshine all the way, a warm 33 degrees, partly cloudy on Monday, 26. We could get a shower on Tuesday, but it's nothing to worry about. We're only expecting about a millimetre at this stage. It'll be cooler too before warming back up on Wednesday and Thursday. It is going to be a scorcher in our west on Sunday, 39 degrees forecast before a cool change moves through. Monday will be more than 10 degrees colder, cloudy and 28 forecast. A shower or two on Tuesday, 27 before temperatures soar in the second half of the week as we head into the long weekend. Lizzie?
Kate, thank you. The Australian Open is up next. That is 9 News for this Friday. I'm Lizzie Pearl. Thank you for being with us. Good night.